There are a lot of times that I can definitely say that I've looked back and seen God's hand in my life, and it's often the case that at the time I've not seen exactly what God had in mind, but looking back later, I could say, well, yeah, that was definitely God. I think one of the stories that comes to mind right now that's kind of close to home is. About 2 years ago, Mark and I invited someone that we had not met at church home for lunch. We had seen Amy walking around at church, and I don't think we'd even ever spoken to her. But God prompted Mark to invite Amy to lunch, and we did. And she had a lot of interest in Japan and gardening and cooking, some of the same interests that I have, and someone had recommended YWAM to her. Now, Mark and I have spent a lot of years with YWAM, and so we were able to just kind of help her out with the first few steps. And it turns out that God had a plan for Amy to actually go to visit Japan, and we were able to be involved in that. And before she knew it, a few months later, she was on her way to Japan. And it was interesting going through at the time that all we had done was invited someone to lunch, and God had such an enormous plan laid out for Amy and for us. It's really amazing to look back over fairly mundane instances in life and see when God has taken something really ordinary that I thought was going to be just another ordinary day, and watch how God has a plan to turn it into something quite extraordinary. And sometimes it takes a little bit of looking to see what God has actually done. But if you take a minute to look and expect to see things that God is doing, I think you'd be surprised at what God is really using you for.